You say, okay, I have a lot of money, but you have no money unless you take profits.
When the first ever spot ETF was created for gold 10x.
And the only thing I really knew was Bitcoin at the time, so I just invested very heavily into that. Rode it all the way up.
What's up?
My name is Jeff. Even the creators have said it's going to be the predecessor of CBDC.
What that taught me was that I need to be self-sufficient.
A solid DCA investment strategy, and pretend the red sell button doesn't even exist.
We about to go up like.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and degens of all ages. We are coming to you with a very special guest tonight. He is an OG Hexagon, a veteran of the space, and a real leader in the community. He's been in crypto for over 9 years. Please welcome to the show, CryptoCoffee. How you doing, brother?
Hey, good to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. It's great to have you on the stream.
Yeah, dude. It's pretty fun, you know? Good, cool times, interesting times we're living in right now. Could be on the cusp of a bull market, so hope everyone's been packing their bags, and yeah, we'll see where we go.
Absolutely.
That's what we're trying to preach, man. That's what we're trying to preach to everyone. Make sure your bags are packed, because this thing can take off in a matter of no time.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Our panel tonight, we have Josh. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Super excited about the stream. Been pretty busy throughout the week, going down to the Ravens game tomorrow. So I'll probably be hitting it pretty hard at the tailgate tomorrow, and then, heading into the weekend, getting ready for Sunday's show. But good week and all, and excited to get this sucker going.
Perfect. And last but not least, our other member of the panel, we got Will back in the container we see.
Yes, I am finally back in my shipping container home. So enough of this living in Airbnb crap. Back in my little shelter down here in Texas. But yeah, life's good, bro. Life is good.
That is how you save money in the bear market, everybody. That is how you do it.
I love his minimalistic lifestyle, man. I mean, that's, if more people embrace that lifestyle, I think you'd have a lot more meaningful feelings in life out there, personally.
It's good to do for a little period of time. I mean, I've spent a couple days and nights in a bus, living in a bus, and we got a wild SJ out here doing that full time. And there's something to be said for that minimalism of you just take whatever you need. You kind of have time to focus. And I don't know if you're mobile. Oh shit, what happened? Oh, you guys all went on mute. Anyway, I don't know if you're mobile, Will, but wait, am I on mute?
No, you're good, brother.
No,
man.
You're good.
I just zoom in from time to time. That's all.
I got you. I was like, oh shit, I thought you guys dropped on the call. But yeah, Will, if that's like a house on wheels, you also get to explore, the whole United States if you want to. And that's a really cool way to live, with that minimalism, that freedom. And it gives you some time to focus on kind of what you really love without getting distracted by all the creature comforts of, or just even the 9-to-5 job, and you go to your office and you're stuck in traffic. And it almost puts that pressure on you too. Like some of the times where I was most kind of forced to change my life was when I lived alone in a tiny, shitty little 1-bedroom, or not even kind of, and it was in Chicago. And that was when I started my YouTube channel, just out of kind of boredom and desperation of, I got to get the hell out of this 9-to-5 grind. And, living with roommates was kind of distracting. They were always sucking people into, let's get drunk on Friday, Saturday night. And then it's back to the rat race, back to the grind. And so, that living alone for me in kind of a smaller space as well, kind of got me focused on a greater vision. So it's good to do.
Definitely. I think roommates can go either way, honestly. In the past, like I remember in college, I got forced to room with some people. I had the undesirables, and I bit the bullet for the team. And then those were the ones that was like, all right, cool. I guess this semester I'm living in the engineering building. That's fine. But then other ones, like right now, I'm living with one of my best friends, and it could not be better, because he and I just kind of like push each other all the time, and it's like, oh shoot, he's up to something, I got to be up to something as well, and you just keep going and going.
Yeah, that's hard to find. So if you get a good roommate like that, you're lucky. Keep those kind of people around, those people that push you to be better. I've always kind of fantasized about being like, you watch the show Silicon Valley, and you're like, oh, I want to live in that house with this, like the tech incubator and all the nerds, all making the next great app or whatever. But in reality, it's a lot of just it's hit or miss. Right, it's hit or miss.
For sure. My roommate actually had a chance to live in a house just like that. He was stationed in California, and I went to visit. It was seriously, it was like a 15-bedroom mansion that like 10 people were splitting with like some girlfriends and whatnot. And it was so funny because he was like, yes, I am technically the least educated person in this house. Everyone has either a master's or a doctorate except me, and I am also the only one who knows how to do handiwork.
It's a perfect relationship then. Guarantee, yeah. That's a little give and take right there.
I think I also think there's something to be said for, especially for men specifically, if they can get into a space where they have to be alone, they have to become okay with being by themselves, because if they're on their grind in life, their grind could take them to places where they're isolated and they don't have anybody around them, and that's something that they need to be comfortable doing, living and operating on their own. As opposed to constantly having somebody around. So I definitely think you grow more in that sort of scenario when it's you and, only you out there.
Totally. The whole pressure makes diamonds thing is real. And, I remember eating rice and beans, and literally it was in the book Sci-Vive when he was talking about rice and beans. I'm like, I did that. But not only, obviously. I made scrambled eggs and some other, some other crazy dishes as well. But it was good to just clear my mind and not be distracted again with just, hey, you want to party? You want to go to the bar? And like, no, I got something else going on.
For sure. So I was checking out the Pulse Tube before this. For people that I don't know, that is a Pulse chain related website where you can find every social person that makes content or streams on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, whatever. And I believe our man CryptoCoffee is number 3, and he's only there because Richard Hart is number 1, and there's another channel with about 10,000 more subs in front of him. So I know everyone probably knows who you are, but can you give us the elevator pitch for how you got into the space and how you started doing all the content?
Yeah. Wait, who's number 2? I'm curious.
Shoot, I think it was like Moon something.
Moon Boy.
I'll find it for you. One sec. No, not
Carl
quite
the
Moon.
Moon. Is it that guy? Shit. Anyway, yeah, I don't know how I got started. Really, I've been in crypto since 2015. Just did every mistake you could possibly imagine. Got involved when Bitcoin was probably a couple $100. I remember blowing my whole paycheck on 1 or 2 Bitcoin back when that was a reasonable thing to do. I could pay like, $500 for 2 Bitcoin, wasted away at the Poloniex casino. If anybody remembers that, or, Bittrex, or all kinds of those old exchanges. A lot of them went out of business now. But, bought every shitcoin on the way up in 2017, rode it all the way back down. Somehow the rising tide still lifted all ships. So even with my degeneracy, even with my, learning what worked, what didn't work, I still ended up just by holding, or just by being in the game and not, going away, not exiting. I still ended up with a net higher floor even after the 2017 bubble burst. I lost 90% of my value, but it was still up from, I remember comparing it to like what I would have had just saving in my 401k. And I'm like, dude, I just ran this whole bubble up all the way in 2017, all the way back down. I feel pretty poor right now, but I still have, 5 digits. Like I have a tiny little, not tiny, right? For some people, but I got this 5-digit bag left over that used to be a high 6-digit bag. And, it feels pretty bad that I'm at these all-time lows right now. But if I worked my ass off at a job every single day to try to chase that promotion and just invested into my 401k, I probably would have had about the same amount of money, maybe even a little less. And so it's just like, all this crazy emotional roller coaster game. It's just a game of attrition, right? It's last man standing. It's a game of not exiting and not shaking yourself out. And then the second cycle, I obviously played a lot better because I learned, Richard Hart had to beat it into all of our heads. The long-term holders are what wins, and don't chase all the shiny objects. And it helps when you have that experience too, and you're freshly burned. And it's easy to tell people not to do that kind of stuff, but it's much easier said than done because everyone's got a new coin to show you every 2 weeks. This week it's fucking Grok AI. Like, Elon Musk talked about Grok. I got to go buy the random unrelated coin that Elon Musk talked about. And it's just rinse and repeat with these people preying on a sad couple of individuals that just need that new thing. Unless you're one of the insiders or you're really, really early, a lot of these coins have a 6-month life cycle at the very best.
For sure. We actually even had a little bit of an experience with that in our own community chat, like today and yesterday. There was a coin that somebody was throwing out there with like minimal research called the UP token. It deals with the Liquid Loans project, which isn't even out yet, but their token is. And we were just trying to like learn more about it and like see if this was actually like something worth looking at. And they were like, oh yeah, we don't have a white paper, we don't have code publicly available, and we don't plan on doing any of those in the future. And it's like, all right, yeah, we're not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. Hey, you got to be picky, man. There's a lot of stuff that's just garbage, and some stuff is okay. I mean, look, maybe 10% is not scams outright, but even the stuff that like, even the road to hell is paved with good intentions, you know? So you've got just some stuff gets hacked and it's not malicious intent, it's negligence. So you really just got to be careful out there. It's a minefield. You're going to take some losses. You're going to invest in a rug pull or two. I've done it, you know, even during the last bull market. You know, I made some scratcher bets on stuff like, I remember Quick Swap token, bought the top of that coin because I was all excited on the hype of, oh, we got Hex on, was it Matic? We got Hex on Polygon now. Maybe I'll just get like, you know, a little bit of Quick token. And then that shit the bed. And I'm like, oh, this is why I don't do that chasing bullshit, you know? So it's funny, you know, we even have to remind ourselves from time to time because you start to, you lose track and you don't even take your own advice.
Oh, absolutely. That's 100% on what happens. One of the things that we talk on this channel is that, honestly, 99% of coins are shit coins, and you really got to be looking for those diamonds in the rough and figure out what's going to be the real blue chips. I think the only consensus that we've come to on the channel is that Bitcoin's here to stay, Ethereum's at like a 95%, and then Hex is also here to stay probably. Pulse Chain is only going to make it better, and then after that, we think GameFi is going to do pretty well. There's some Pulse Chain projects that we like, and then other than that, you got other big L1s that are backed by larger studios or larger companies, and it's like, chances are they're stick around, but honestly, a lot of us think that we're going to see the death of some L1s come this next cycle.
Yeah, I don't think that's too controversial anymore, right? Like Solana somehow has got their exit liquidity pump, I guess. I mean, good for them, guys. Good for them. All the VCs get to exit, but yeah, what are you guys all interested on Pulse Chain? That's maybe let's talk about. This is called DGen Roundtable, right? I'm assuming you guys are into other stuff. So within Pulse Chain, I guess, what do you have your eye on?
Will, what you got?
I'll go ahead and take it away. I just recently learned about a fucking shitcoin called the Hex Orange Address. That thing is fun. I really like Too Spooky, I think, is the guy who created that stuff. He's a fun guy.
He's funny.
Yeah, he streams all the time. He does his own thing, but I quite like the fact that it like all started as a joke on Joe Biden's like inability to pronounce things and stuff. And so
is that how it started? I didn't even know. I didn't know.
Yeah, so the whole idea, as I recall, you know, somebody in the audience, correct me if I'm wrong, or I don't know, somebody in the future, you know, call me out in the comments or some shit. But my understanding of like where the Hex Orange Address came from is like one day Biden's gonna be talking about like either Joe Biden or somebody up there in the White House is going to be talking to Richard Hart about like, oh, what's going on with the origin address? Why is there all these coins in here? Like blah 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 blah. You know, the whole
like
Satoshi
Bitcoin
thing.
I got you.
Yeah, exactly. And then fucking Biden's just going to say, oh yeah, it's the Hex Orange Address. Yeah, and so like they went with it and they ran, and you know it's been doing its thing. I don't know where it's at on the charts. I bought some for shits and giggles and haven't checked it since. But
well, they're having fun over there. Those guys, coin. They're having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
They got they're hanging out in the metaverse, Tangent, and all the other guys. They got Pulse OGs. I mean, hey, man, it looks like they're having a good time. They're experimenting. It's a playground. Pulse Chain's a playground.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
know,
exactly.
It's a little bit tough for me to buy into that one, but hey, you know, you guys do your thing, and it's all good.
I'm not buying in it for value. I'm buying in it for the shits and giggles, for the
memes.
fun.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh yeah, I'll throw money at this thing that amuses me. Fuck it, why not? Josh, what about you, dude? What do you got?
I mean, so I'm probably the least degen individual that we have that's on the panel and that's on the team. I know very little about a lot, but I do know a lot about a very little, the stuff that I choose to focus on. And the one thing that sticks out is just the buy and burn feature on PulseX. You know, I think that's revolutionary. I think it's going to change I think it's going to change the game. And I think it's going to be a blueprint in the future for success, especially on decentralized exchanges. And I just, you know, that's my main sticking point with it. And I think that it's just going to be something that's going to explode. And there are going to be a lot of folks. There are going to be a lot of dexes in the future that try to replicate the success that PulseX is going to have in the coming.
Well, they already have. We've already seen. It feels like everybody's just tossing in buy and burn now as a buzzword. But I mean, PulseX was the first mainstream to do it big. I feel like they might have borrowed that idea from was it Sushi Swap? I don't know if that was a completely original idea, but it was original to me when I heard about it, and then somebody else told me, no, actually, this other protocol did buy and burn first. But I mean, PulseX is doing it right, decentralized in a way where there's no one in the middle to touch it. So yeah.
For sure. I'm probably going to fight Josh over the title of least DGen at the table. That's the great irony of the channel is we call it the DGen Roundtable, but we're all pretty much just talking about fundamentals. I got in on a play that Charlie and Miguel were talking about. They're two of our biggest mentors. All of us here are Crypto Mindset course
Love
alumni.
those guys. Oh, you guys are, sure. What is it, alumni of that?
Yep. All of us here are alumni from the CMT course.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I jumped in on a play for Thor Swap.
Hey, I like what they did. Is it true that they shut down the chain? Like they shut down the cross-chain swap?
Yeah, they did actually shut down the whole thing. I got my chart right here. It was back in October, I want to say. Yep, October 6th. They had an issue where it looked like there was a potential hack that was available. So they basically just shut it down for like 2 days, restarted it. But if you look on the chart, it looks like they have that big pump in 15th of August, and then this pump that was about to break through that one on like the 3rd of October, and then just drops right back down. But since then, been on a bit of a tear. So it's good solid play so far.
Well, I like what they're doing over there because it's the only DEX that I know of that allows for like the atomic cross-chain swaps, right? You can't really trade Bitcoin in any other way that I know of. So you've even got you've got like OG Bitcoin guys. Eric Voorhees, I think, is a supporter of Thorchain. And, you know, all the Bitcoiners get triggered because it's a new ticker symbol that's not Bitcoin, but it actually provides a legitimate service. Like cross-chain atomic swaps, pretty legit.
Oh, for sure. A lot of, for people that don't know, Thor Swap is on Thorchain. Rune is the main token over there, but this one is specifically for their DEX. What the DEX does is it actually allows people to trade native token on the Thorchain network. And there's my understanding is that there's a large liquidity pool where a bunch of people have their native tokens stocked in this. And this is honestly a decent competitor to other layer zeros, is my understanding. So it looks
like it's at a 1-year high as of today. It just made a pretty big green dildo right there. So congrats if you're holding that.
Yeah, not too shabby, right?
Nice, man. You know, I got my eye on something that people might find weird, and I'm not saying anybody go out and rush into buying this. I mean, it's a new thing, but
obviously not financial advice.
Yeah, especially not with the new shit, right? Like it's just something that it's been on the testnet for a while, and it does seem to play nicely with Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX. And I always like stuff that I think adds value and extends the functionality of stuff that I already have, which is why I'm not totally maximalist. I like to say maximal-ish, right? Because I got to make room for some new stuff. And, you know, like PHUX is one example of something that I've been making a lot of money with, and it's great. And it'd be a shame if I just ignored that, right? So this other thing is called Pulse DAO. It's been audited 3 times. You know, they've taken a long time to make sure they got it audited and safe. Now, that's not a guarantee, right? We've seen a lot of audited code that still gets hacked. So by no means is this a guarantee of safety, but it seems like they had the intention the whole time of adding value to PulseChain, Hex, especially Hex stakers, and just the way that it's designed, where you can stake PulseX Hex INC token even, or Liquid Hex, or even staked Hex. So you can stake your staked Hex, or I don't know if that's quite the right way to put it, but based on your T-shares, you can actually mint this XPD token. And you can mint new CDs in the form of the XPD. So it's not like you know what? I'm not going to get too into the tokenomics. Just take a look at it. Maybe, just keep an eye. Like that's all I'm doing right now. Keeping an eye on it. If it's got a good track record after a couple weeks, months, I might, play around with a small chunk of my bag. But it's not very often that I see something and I'm like, oh, it's actually the tokenomics of this don't suck. Like it could have potential here. Anyway. That's all you're going to get for today, I think. Pulse DAO is where that's it.
Oh, perfect. Well, thanks for sharing some good alpha right there. Well, we're definitely going to look more into it. As of now, though, I'd like to pull up some of the chatters that we got. Looks like we have some mutual friends up in here. We got Bradley, Brother64, and SJ is in the house. So SJ was talking about, we mentioned earlier the idea that you got to learn to live alone, and she completely agrees. Says, I don't know, man. I've experienced that recently as a woman. Learning to be alone and being happy and thrive in that space. Perfect. Love it, SJ. And by the way, looking forward to hanging out on Saturday. She's going to be in Phoenix, Arizona for the Pulse Tour meetup. I will be there as well. So go out and support the crew.
Nice, man. Yeah, the Phoenix one is going to be big. You're going to meet my buddy Jason over there too. Make sure you say hi to this. If you meet a tall blonde kid, make sure you say hi to him.
Perfect.
Hey, real quick, Zenith, I got to shout out Antoine here. He hit with the comment. Surprised Josh haven't lost those shades yet. So when we were down
over from Miami,
yeah, exactly. So I bought these in Miami, and I must have lost them 2 or 3 times. Found them, left them in the Airbnb, and he had to FedEx them overnight to me. So shout out Antoine. I see you in the chat, buddy. Appreciate you getting them back to me, man. But go ahead, Zenith.
For sure. Just wanted to transition one of the topics I wanted to ask you about. So you've been a Hexican and a leader in the community for a long time. What are the most aspects of a cryptocurrency community that you think of, and does the Hex community accomplish that, or is there something that we could probably work on together?
Repeat the question. Is there something we can work on together, or does the Hex community accomplish what?
Well, the question is, what does a cryptocurrency community try to accomplish? Obviously, I think we're all trying to pump our bags, but at the same time, I think specifically in the Hex community, one of the things that Richard Artis talked about is that Hex teaches people to think long-term, which is that try to get people to think longer than the next year, maybe even the next cycle, because with the introduction of the 15-year stakes, that's a long time for people to think about, and that's really not thinking about short-term games, but trying to think long-term and create like a solid foundation financially that you can eventually live off of, theoretically, if you do one of the staking ladders properly.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, long-term is the way to go. Look, you're not going to really make money day trading. I don't care what people tell you. Buy bits, just choose people up. It's the meat grinder. Okay. All the people that are bragging about their overnight success, day trading, and hey, I'm on a beach in my underwear, check me out. They're probably lying to you. They're probably making their money by selling trading courses and indicators that if they worked, they'd be using them themselves. They wouldn't be sharing them with the public. We just saw BitBoy kind of get exposed for a $4,000 generic trading indicator. It's like some moving average crossover cloud type of deal. It's like a lot of this stuff is very cookie cutter stuff, but it tricks people into thinking that crypto is trading. When you get into crypto, that's the thing to do. People correlate the two and they think it's one and the same. Like when I tell people I'm in crypto, they're like, "Oh, so you're a trader?" And I'm like, "No, I'm the polar opposite." And that's what Richard's kind of tried to instill into this community. He's done a good job. A lot of us still believe in the whole long-term vision. A lot of us have a 15-year stakes and staking ladder system in Hex. A lot of us are yield farming long-term as well. That's an additional strategy. Kind of a longer term, not super long, but you can do that for months at a time without having to pull out if you're in the right pairs, like Pulse Hex or Hex Pulse or whatever. And if you're okay with the temporary and permanent loss of that, temporary until obviously it becomes permanent when you pull it out. But yeah, it's the way to go, and it's what people don't want to hear. It's just everyone wants to know, what are your top 5 picks of the week? Top 5 picks of the week, and that kind of garbage content is what gets all the engagement. Look at Altcoin Daily. He picks his tweets from like a can of tweets that he's got like 10 different variations of the same bullshit, and it's like, you get $1,000 tomorrow. What coins are you buying? Go, and it'll have like some emojis and shit, and it'll be like, dude, it's such obvious engagement bait that you guys need to stop falling for. So people listening, just know that there are influencers out here that don't make their money on good investments. They make their money from sponsorships and engagement baiting you and getting paid, Twitter ad revenue, sponsorship revenue, meat grinder, Bybit links, Bybit referral links. And they don't actually have any interest, because the classic playbook is they buy the coin, they shill you the coin, and then they sell the coin. So people in our community, right, we're loading up on the coin at the same time we're buying it. We're telling other people about it. And, even at the top, right, we're telling people, look, this is a long-term play anyway. So it's like, yeah, when things go down 90%, you still have the opportunity to dollar cost average in, ride it to another cycle, right? Maybe you're one of those guys that bought at 30 cents or 20 cents Hex or whatever. It's like, well, you could rage quit. Or you could dollar cost average your way down. Maybe consider that this might be around for 5 or 10 years. Maybe ladder some stakes. And when things are 90% off, 95% off, you go really, really hard. And that's another option. You're basically betting on the fact of, is crypto going to survive, and are these coins going to survive? Are Pulse Chain, PulseX, and Hex going to have staying power? When you understand what they are, they're totally immutable, decentralized smart contracts, can't be shut off. I mean, you could run it locally from your computer if you want to, even if the government, worst case scenario, took down a website that was hosting, a Hex front end or a Pulse Chain front end. There's many, many more that'll take its place, like the Hydra. So it's real decentralization, real crypto the way it was supposed to be. A lot of websites, right? the website goes down. A lot of cryptos, the website goes down, and there's no way for people to get their coins out, or there's a rug pull where, you know, the liquidity gets pulled out, or the developer just sells all of his pre-allocated coins. And you just got to be careful out there. It's hard to know, but you know, you got to look at the founder, the community, the code itself. Kind of the what it does. Tokenomics aren't even necessarily the most important thing. It's like a mixture of that, community, founder, you know, narrative, story, and you know, safety. Honestly, safety is a big one too. Is it audited? Is it real decentralization? Is there an admin key where the guy can flip the directions where all of a sudden he mints as many coins as he wants? So yeah, Bradley's saying, yeah, the 10 new shit coins. Number 7 will shock you. It's just clickbait, man. It's like the modern day version of clickbait back in the day. You know, back in the day, like in the early days of the internet, a lot of people got rich just because they were yelling the loudest about their temporary, you know, crappy internet business idea. And it's kind of the same thing right now. We've got meme coin generosity of, hey, who can yell the loudest about Grok AI coin? And that's not going to last for very long. And it's almost like eventually I think there will be I hate to use Larry Fink word, but a flight to quality, right? Like I think eventually people will go back to the actual fundamentals of what has staying power, what's actually a good product market fit. But right now we're in this explosion of just everyone's got shiny object syndrome. Everyone wants the next Shiba. Everyone wants the next Hex. There's only going to be a couple of those 10,000 X's kind of ever. And you just got to take a look at what they do. Can they be shut down? You know, I'm kind of repeating myself at this point, but that's my thought.
Oh, beautiful.
I got a quick question for you. So you had mentioned earlier just now, and also in your last stream when you were talking about Ivan on Tech and how he started basically alluding to what Richard Hart had done with the Hex.com and basically creating this own front end where you essentially make your own website and you interact with the blockchain on your own by following all these steps and programs things. Have you yourself actually tried that path yet? Have you done this set up the Hex front stake thing?
Yeah,
can you kind of describe that?
It's pretty easy to do. You just double click on an exe, right? And you just you run the code. Like, it depends on if you have a Mac or a Windows or Linux, but you go to go.hex.com, you just download a file. You know, Richard just tweeted about it today. He's like, it's just a zip file, guys. If you can double click a zip file and extract it, you can do it. Like, it's not that crazy technical hard. It's just people that are like, oh, new thing, scary. I don't know how to, you know, it's really just a couple extra button clicks. And you can still go to the websites too, by the way. You can still go to the websites, the IPFS links, all these different links. But yeah, I've run
App, Icosahedron.
There's so many.
All the other front ends, right?
There's so many, and they're awesome too. There's like other ones that, you know, they let you mint different coins. So Icosa.pro will let you mint Hedron. Communist.app will let you mint Comcoin. I should be showing my referral link. Getcomcoin.com. That's another freebie for Hex stakers only. But yeah, it's just you can run it on your machine. I've made tutorials about it, and it's really like, my tutorial is basically, look, you click this, you click this, you click this, and then I spend 10 minutes talking about why it matters, right? So like the actual doing it is important, you know, but you just clicking buttons, right? But the why it matters is that it can't be shut off. So everybody has these fears, and they're legitimate fears, right? Because we are in the then they fight you stage of crypto. So, you know, Mr. Guzzler, the Seaman Demon, and a couple of people, the Karen of crypto, as I like to call Elizabeth Warren, the anti-crypto army, whatever that BS is all. I mean, it's you got some people that don't like crypto because it threatens the power structures of the banking system, and now they're getting to the point of realizing that, oh crap, this is real. These people aren't going away. They're not just those crazy internet dorks, you know, talking about online gambling and stuff like that. And now that it's legitimized, they need to feel like they can have some sense of control over it, which is why they're approving a Bitcoin ETF, because they know once they do that, they can basically print as much money as they want with their infinite mint button on the Federal Reserve. And they could basically control or manipulate the price of Bitcoin by trading paper Bitcoin, you know what I mean, with the spot Bitcoin ETF. Same with Ethereum. And I think they would do that for the whole market if they could. But luckily, there's still some last bastions of hope out here. You know, it's Hex Pulse Chain especially. This whole community is kind of founded on the principles of, you know, real crypto, real decentralization.
That's fair. So one of the things, go for it, Will.
I was just going to say, so quick, I don't know if this is the direction that we want the conversation to go, but I was just going to say with the spot ETF, I thought with spot ETF, you had to hold the backings like in some sort of reservoir. So like if you had a spot gold ETF, or if you had like a spot, I don't know, Tesla ETF, you actually had to hold the stocks in reserve. And when you were selling the paper representations of them, like you have to have like a stockpile as opposed to like the futures ETFs, which is what fucked over gold way back in the, what was it, the 80s or whenever the fuck they made it, right? Is that that's the difference between those two, right?
Well, I'm not quite sure on all the unique ETFs, but there doesn't always have to be like at a regular bank nowadays. You don't have any reserve requirement for your money being in that bank. I can't be positive about gold as well, but I believe your certificate for gold is just I don't believe there's a right to redemption on all of these, right? I think it depends which ETF you're buying.
That's just
you're entirely.
my understanding. No, go ahead, Z. I was just going to say that was my understanding.
I was going to say, this is one of the flaws with ETFs is that sometimes they don't have to be backed by anything. When you look at specifically gold as a precious metal, the physical objects themselves, yes, it's possible to go get more gold out of the ground, but there eventually was a limit that people ran into, and that's kind of how paper gold got it going, which is that people discovered that instead of actually trying to go mine gold out of the earth, we can just trade paper gold, and by doing that we can actually increase the supply artificially, similar to how like modern banking theory uses like a 10% reserve ratio to effectively 10x money through loans and reloans. You can kind of do something similar with paper gold, and in this case it could be possible to do it with paper Bitcoin as well. And I think this is one of the things that we're gonna end up fighting Wall Street on with this, is that they're gonna really be pushing for Bitcoin ETFs. On one hand, it's absolutely a good thing because it's gonna get a ton more normies into the space and get a lot more people crypto interested, and it's also gonna add some volume. However, at the same time, where we are gonna end up fighting them is, do you want Bitcoin ETF or do you want your own coins? Not your keys, not your crypto. That's the thing you gotta preach to people, because it's similar to like Robinhood and whatnot. Sure, you can technically like own part of the asset, but you don't have those keys, so are they really even yours?
Gotcha. That's all that I had. Josh, if you got nothing else, Zenith, I'm gonna pass it back to you for transition and things.
Oh, I was going to keep going on this. One of the things that we've been talking about here on the channel is we've been looking at the ETFs, and all of the drop dead dates for approval or disapproval are coming up in March. One of the theories we've been throwing out there is that this could be the cycle where traditional finance really gets in on the market, and that could cause it to run extra hard just because that's so much injection of capital. Any thoughts on this cycle?
I mean that's the narrative everyone's hoping for, right? That's exactly what's probably going to happen too. I would not be surprised if it triggers mainstream adoption from the normies, right? Like this is the time that your grandma and your grandpa are going to be talking about, oh, maybe I can invest in Bitcoin if I can just put a little bit of from my 401k into this ETF or whatever it is. So,
I just hope some people actually learn about the crypto sphere and trade it correctly, because it is such a volatile asset. I could definitely see in the future people make a mistake of trying to put too much of their 401k or some sort of like retirement plan into a Bitcoin ETF. And then when we do those 50% plus corrections, that could absolutely wreck some people.
Well, they'll feel Rex because they're not used to the game. For us, a 50% correction would be a walk in the park, right? I'd love if Hex only corrected 50% next time. That'd be great.
That would be the dream.
But no, we're the psychos out here that just love that volatility. But
yeah, so that's something else I wanted to touch on. You had mentioned earlier, when people buying at the top and having that long-term view. One thing that I wanted to say to kind of reinforce that thought is like you don't realize losses until you sell. So this is beginner advice. So for the folks that are listening right now, like if you're new to the whole crypto game, the only time that you realize a loss is if you sell. So if you bought Bitcoin when it was at $60,000 and you still have it right now, you still got one Bitcoin or whatever the hell, right? Whatever the asset is. And if it like just because it's at 35,000, 37,000 right now, like you're not down on your money until that point in time when you click that sell button and you switch your asset back into cash or switch it back into whatever the thing is that you want to keep and use to spend in real life, whether it's, yen or chicken eggs or Toyota Camrys or whatever the hell, right?
Like you just got to understand that, this government fiat made up money that they're printing to oblivion is not going so well. And they're just going to keep printing more and more and more. So if you park your assets in something that's got a programmed supply side, you can't, like Richard's always said, you can't program the demand side, but that'll come in time once people realize that they're getting the short end of the stick, even in the first world countries, right? People are getting more and more fed up with their purchasing power being eroded by working harder than they've ever have before and being able to afford less stuff. Because I mean, that's all inflation is. There's too much money and there's not enough stuff. Like our GDP has not really increased relative to the amount of money in the system, or productive, goods and services and all that. So yeah, with that long-term vision, if one day you believe that all this money has to flow somewhere, and hopefully it will flow into harder, better programmed money. And that's what Hex is. Hex is a programmed money, right? Ethereum is programmable money. Hex is programmed money. Pulse Chain is also programmable smart contracts. These coins that all live on top are programmed to do various different things. But yeah, this excess money does have to overflow somewhere. So why not the assets that we make?
Will, what you were saying, it definitely describes the HODL mindset, but folks coming in, they're not hopping into this game with the HODL mindset right off the bat. That's something that's earned. That's something that's earned through those dips. You know what I'm saying? It's earned through that first cycle. And then once they get a firm understanding of what to do, that's when they can put on the HODL hat. That's when they can start changing their mindset around. But that's not the case right now. We're going to have more people come in, and especially when we get into bull run mania. Coffee was talking earlier about the hype coins, those coins that people just want to jump into, and they aren't hodling, and they're looking to get in quick, and they're looking for that next 10,000x. That's a mindset that people have to lose through going through the market, and it's only going to increase as the bull mania comes up. But that mindset is derived in the bear market, and that's why I wouldn't trade my experiences through the bear market to save anything. I am so thankful that I went through that, paying for that experience, because that completely changed my mindset around. And that's just something that as people become more and more familiar with this space, they're just all going to have to learn individually on their own at their own pace, that style.
Yeah. This is something that's like what you're hinting at, Josh, here. This is something that's important, like through all of life. Like you need the painful experiences. You need to go through boot camp in order to become, like a military member. You need to suffer through the hazing rituals if you want to join the fraternity, right? You need to suffer. You need to go through these pains and these trials and these tribulations in order to truly value the things that are actually valuable. If it doesn't come at a cost, if you don't suffer in some way, shape, or form, whether it's like time, attention, money, energy, network, whatever, right? If you don't sacrifice anything for something, then it's not really that valuable to you as an individual, and it's not valuable to society as a whole. That's what I got on that. So good point, Josh. I like it.
Beautiful. Alrighty. So earlier on Monday, a couple of us actually had an opportunity to hop on a stream with RG3 for chatting with the captain. That was a phenomenal time, and he actually brought up a point that I wanted to ask you about here. We were talking with RG3, and he mentioned that one of the failures moving forward into the 21st century is that we haven't really produced enough good leadership to sustain ourselves moving into the future. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think good leadership inside of a crypto community looks like, and how can we foster that moving forward?
Yeah, I think I actually kind of made a video about it, right? But you need consistency in your messaging. You need to not falter on real principles of DeFi, decentralization, long-term vision, all that type of stuff. Consistency, but also some flexibility. And those two things are contradictory, right? But you need to be flexible enough to allow new ideas while being consistent enough for the other people, the outsiders, the anti-crypto people, or the neutral people to be like, wow, these guys aren't backing down on their idea. They must actually be eating their own dog food. They must believe what they're actually saying. So in order to be legit, you got to be consistent as well. And it's also got to be something appealing to everybody as well. So it's got to have common ground with people that aren't in the ecosystem as well. So your message has to be, well, I like getting rich and I like freedom, right? And a lot of people, they're feeling like they're less and less free every day, and they're feeling like it's harder and harder to make ends meet. And so whether or not you're in crypto or out of crypto, I think a lot of people get into crypto for that reason. They feel like their freedoms are being stripped. And so we need to continue that messaging as well and make sure that we focus on those two things of, freedom and mad gains are fun along the way. There's also the community aspect. Hey, you can join a group of people, like-minded, freedom-loving individuals, and you don't have to sit at your desk job all day and talk about, what your boss watched on Netflix and pretend to care. You know, you can just join this group of people that are actually moving and shaking and trying to change the world. But yeah, it's that duality of consistency again. Not your keys, not your coins. Real decentralization, real crypto, freedom of speech. No admin keys, 100% uptime. You know, all the basic talking points that we just got to be consistent on. But again, that flexibility of, okay, well, maybe let's see, maybe not every single coin sucks. Maybe most of them do, but maybe let's hear out your ideas. You know, maybe NFTs do have a use case one day. Maybe monkey pictures aren't the coolest thing ever, but there's maybe a version 2 or version 3. Like, I believe there's a future for NFTs. That's just, I don't think the opportunity is there right now to make a lot of money on them. And, you know, other people will say I'm wrong, and that's what we argue about in crypto. But, you know, if people, you know, you run that risk of you can't be inconsistent. You can be flexible without being inconsistent in your original messaging. Like, if all of a sudden I started promoting something that was like a centralized exchange, right? People would be like, what the hell? Like, this guy doesn't even know what he stands for. So just kind of getting on board with what we all stand for is really important. And that's kind of the rallying cry that Pulse Chain, the community, has that nobody else has. We're some of the only people preaching the original ideals of crypto. A lot of people sold out. A lot of people shilled FTX. Now they're pretending it never happened. Or they shilled Celsius and they're like, you know, kind of just trying to brush it under the rug, or maybe their lawyers told them not to say anything. But they just don't want to man up and apologize, at least. They'd be like, yeah, I was wrong. But let's get back to the whole not your keys, not your coins thing. The real enemy is the government here. The real enemy is the SEC, Gary Gensler, people trying to take your power from you. And whether you're in Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything else that's sufficiently decentralized, I prefer Hex, Pulse Chain, Pulse X, because I think they're going to pump way harder. But we're all fighting on the same team here, and there's a bigger picture, right? The real enemy is the state. This is separation of money and state. It's not, you know, arguing about which meme coin is best this week.
That's true. Go for it.
Not necessarily clap back, but remind you of something there, Coffee, that like when you're talking about like the use cases of NFTs, I agree. I think that your sentiment is like, oh, who the fuck gives a shit about like, you know, a monkey JPEG or whatever. But I think that one of like the coolest things that came out of NFTs was Alex's project, where he made like the icosahedron, you know, ecosystem, where it's like, hey, now you can turn your Hex stake into an NFT and you can send it to another wallet. Or you can, you know, or you can buy Watts, like what Nazim Z15 said, or I hope I pronounced that right. Nazim Z15, whatever, right? So like he was talking about Watts, right? Like that, like you can attach a digital receipt of ownership to anything on the internet, whether it's a JPEG, whether it's some code that says like, hey, I created a smart contract using the icosahedron protocol. Like there's a lot of cool, like that's really the only NFTs that I personally care about at this point. Is all the shit that Alex created, you know, the icosahedron and the wrapped hex stakes. And like, you can go on OpenSea and you can buy a fucking Quattro Cinco hex stake for like, I don't know if it's dimes on the dollar, right? Because who knows what it's going to be worth in 15 years. But I think that's some of the coolest shit in the NFT world. But yeah, but you're absolutely right that the fucking government's the enemy. I like it. I like that you're thinking that way. That's my kind of thoughts, bro.
Yeah. You know, with NFTs, it's the collectibles are a legitimate thing. People will always collect stuff, right? And people, I think when you start to tie real world assets in, NFTs might have a little bit of a stronger use case there. Like if Richard Hart ever NFT'd his diamond, for example, and said, everyone that buys this NFT, like there's, let's say 5,555 of them, you get partial ownership in the world's largest diamond, right? That would actually have somewhat of a use, because it's like, okay, you're tying this to a real world thing. And rather than hosting this ownership contract in a private database that could go offline, could get hacked, could be corrupted, it's on a public global database that anybody can see. And there might be benefits to that. Financial NFTs, you know, trading Hex stakes, creating effectively a bond market is a very interesting use case. And even collectibles too. Like the collectibles of today will not necessarily be around in 10 years, but it's a legit use case. Also, companies can create you know, coupons or concert tickets and all this stuff that's typically handled by, you know, a lot of times it does just fine on a private centralized server somewhere that's owned by a company, and there's really no issue. But there are certain edge cases where it might be more legit. So, and then even people don't realize as well, liquidity positions are NFTs. I mean, you need NFTs as a concept in blockchain because, yeah, you know, when you provide liquidity on a Uniswap V3, you get an NFT representation of that LP. So there's a lot of use cases. You know, you know, all the NFT bros, Bored Ape Yacht Club, sorry out there. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I highly doubt that, you know, paying $40K for that monkey picture is gonna come back anytime soon. I mean, from what I hear, their Discord is absolutely dead. I haven't really been around in it, but it is kind of funny. I mean, if you bought that for $1 million and it's a picture of a monkey smoking a blunt, I mean, maybe you deserve it. I don't know,
dude. I think some other. Hang on, I'll let you go here in a second, Zenith. But there's a crypto group called City DAO, and they bought, I think, 40 acres of land in Wyoming. I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, City DAO, and they bought 40 acres of land in Wyoming. They tokenized this shit, and then they made that they did something with trusts and land ownership, and then they tokenized the whole thing, and so now you can buy NFTs and essentially get real estate. I think in Wyoming,
that would be awesome.
One of my favorite.
We just need society to come to a place where we all recognize that the blockchain is basically the book of truth, right? I mean, not a lot of people even understand what the blockchain is, but once it becomes mainstream in society, I think, you could trade land deeds. You could trade all types of ownership deeds. Yeah, Bradley, I kind of agree with you. Unchangeable, a hard contract or a deed is likely where we're going with that. We just need everybody to understand what these things are, what blockchains are.
And I think a big shout out to Avenged Sevenfold. I'm pretty sure that they're the ones that are tokenizing some of their tickets and making NFT tickets for their upcoming albums or concerts or something like that.
Are you serious?
I could be totally wrong. I remember it was one of the fucking high school bands that I would listen to back then.
I love them. Sure. I still listen to them, dude.
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up right now. Zenith, you had something you wanted to mention. Go ahead and do that while I'm checking this out.
I was just gonna say, I think the underlying current with all of the NFT talk is, and crypto in general as we move forward into the future, is use case. Which is that, like, originally the use case for Bored Ape Yacht Club is I own this thing to prove that I'm rich and I can go to an event once a year. However, everything we're talking about, it's the NFT is usable for something else. When we're trying to find projects outside of NFTs even, we're trying to identify the use case of a crypto to identify what it does. So, like, specifically Liquid Loans, we'll talk about them because we love those guys. But what they're doing is they're trying to create digital banking on Pulse Chain. That's a phenomenal use case. Meme coins, not a phenomenal use case. It's pretty much just pump and dumps and buy for the joke. And honestly, those things are just about as close to the Bored Ape Yacht Clubs you can get without being an NFT.
Yeah,
I found it, boys. It is Avenged Sevenfold that's doing NFT ticketing for their stuff. So fucking shout out to them. Good shit, boys. Good shit. I'm gonna send our producer the link right now so she can put it up on our chat. Mrs. McGinn.
Great band. What do you think about their last album?
I have not paid attention to it, bro, since I graduated high school. Like fucking.
I thought it was all right, but it wasn't. They're not what they really used to be. Maybe.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like as you grow older, well, like people pass away, and like also like your life positions change, and the things that you believe in and the things that you value change as you get older. Your testosterone level drops, so it's going to be like less rage music and more like, oh, love and care about the world. We should all be friends and stuff and blah blah. And so like styles change. It's one of those. It's like the age-old saying, you either die a hero or you live to see yourself become the villain, or something along those lines is what I see. But I'm going to send that to or Josh. Should I send that to you to put up in the chat? The link for the Avenged Sevenfold stuff.
If you're going to do the YouTube chat, you can just send it to me and I'll copy it and put it in there.
Okay, I'm going to do that. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to distract. Back to the conversation. My bad.
No. Cool. Let me do a quick plug real quick, Zenith. Hey, if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys smash the like button. Make sure you guys comment, subscribe on the video. Check down to the description, find our Telegram, join our free Telegram. And the biggest thing that you guys can do is share this entire episode across all your social medias. So if you guys could do that for us, that'd be great. Zenith, you cool if I ask a question real quick?
Ask away, good sir.
Cool. So we got probably about another 10-15 minutes left. So we had Crispy Man on a couple weeks ago, and I asked him this question, and it's a question that I like asking people to sort of to get an idea of their mindset. There's a popular saying that says you're the sum of the 5 biggest people that you either hang out with or that influence you or that you pay the most attention to, right? I'm sure you've heard that saying. It's a popular saying. You are one of the OGs in the Hex ecosystem, in the Hex space. Who would you say are the, you don't have to give 5, you can give 2, you can give 3, but who would you say who would you consider in your inner group that influence you the most, that keep you on top of your game and keep you grinding the way that you do?
Uh-oh. Are you asking me for my MySpace top 7 friends, bro?
Yeah, something like
I'm
that, pretty much.
See,
Yeah.
all I'm gonna do is offend everyone that's not in the top 5. Then you know what I mean? No, I'm just. But I mean, like, obviously, Richard's been my guru for all things crypto related, and many other things as well. Not everything, like not diet advice necessarily, but a lot of other things as well. Many. That guy's a wealth of knowledge. So he's been my mentor, guru in crypto specifically. He's got the right idea. I listen to all kinds of people, man. I don't really have time to listen to a whole lot of content every day or follow individuals like religiously, because when you're making content, you kind of want to get a sample size. I do listen to other channels, other videos. I just don't have time to watch 10 or 50 of this person's videos. I'll check in and see on what's Michael Saylor talking about, or what's Ty Lopez talking about, or what's I don't know what's crazy old Max Kaiser talking about still. I follow your friend Sami. I'll watch his videos maybe like every other day because it's so frequent. There's always something new to listen to, and it's entertainment value, right? It's pure entertainment. I love dollar cost crypto. I'll always watch his live streams and get up to date on what are the hot altcoins. I hate using the word shitcoin now because it's like now we're in pulse chain and we've got all kinds of them. But he's my aficionado for all things altcoin, different chains, different. He knows a lot about stuff as well. He knows a lot about the Federal Reserve as well, and just a lot about macroeconomics. If you're just asking for like YouTube channel recommendations, I don't really, when a lot of times when I also watch YouTube, it's for entertainment value to take the edge out. It's kind of me after, a long day of working. I'll watch like the Y-Files, which is about aliens and conspiracy theories and crap like that. I just watch some random stuff to take my mind off of crypto sometimes, or who knows, maybe you get a different perspective. But I just try to learn from everybody I can, really. If I have a question, I'll Google it or look it up on YouTube. And, there's not really any single guru that comes to mind. I went through, I could show you my YouTube subscribers real quick. Let me see. YouTube.com. What about you guys? Who do you recommend?
Well, watch us. Watch our channel first and foremost. Of course, we gotta plug the DGen Roundtable. After that, I like DCC, like you were saying. I found the most valuable content from watching your friend Sami. Like Sami's fucking. He is a character, man. I will tell you what, he is a hell of a character. His analysis is on point, and he makes it fun to watch and all sorts of cool things. So that is my numero uno to find stuff in the crypto sphere. Josh or Zenith, what about you guys?
It's changed. It certainly has. As you're learning, when I was probably within my first 6 months to my first year, maybe my first year and a half in the space, it was different. I'm in a different space now. You know what I'm saying? My knowledge has grown. My investment strategy has grown. And so when you grow, those that influence you change. I'm not saying this to be tacky. Up until this group was founded, I had a different group, but it's really mostly the guys that we have in this group right here that we have. We are talking every single day. We're having multiple conversations a day. I think I showed you my phone, didn't I? I save very few telephone numbers in my phone. Very few telephone numbers I save, but I have every single person's cell phone number in our group, I'm calling them, I'm texting them and stuff like that. So I would say, it would be a combination of everybody that we have in the group. Of course, I'll still, like you said, Coffee, I'll listen to see what's going on with this person or what this person's take on something is, if it interests me. But definitely, I would say that it's the group that we have here. What about you, Zenith?
I'll share love to these guys every chance I get because they honestly are my mentors and they're my rich dad. That's Charlie and Miguel. Cultivate Crypto and Dollar Cost Crypto. Those are the guys that got me into this whole space. And then other than that, I've been trying to tear through this giant stack of paper that people keep giving me recommendations for. So I've just been trying to go, call it boring, but a bit of like traditional finance stuff and devouring as much content as possible. I like Robert Kiyosaki. I think he's got a lot of good stuff. I I pay attention to the Valuetainment podcast, Patrick Bet David and his team. I think they put out some good stuff, good macroeconomic stuff. I try to blend as much as traditional finance into the cryptocurrency space as I possibly can, because that's what I'm most familiar with. I originally started off my investment journey over there with like stocks and then doing investing there, eventually traded options. And then I was like, wow, this is all a waste. And I wasted all my time to break even. What's this crypto stuff? And that's how I ended up over here. But
You
just
and me
doing that.
both
And
on
then,
that one.
yeah, for sure. And then honestly, the older I'm getting, I know at the advanced age of 29 here, but the older I'm getting, the fewer and fewer people I find in my life consistently. There's like a core of 5 guys that I went to college with. We still keep up to date all the time. We actually just had everybody get together last week, and it's that small circle. It's people that I try to make sure that all the people around me are focused on the future. We are all invested in each other, and we're not going to let each other stray from things going wrong. And at the same time, obviously, yeah, people, my friends make fun of me because I'm the crypto guy now. But at the same time, one by one, each of them is kind of asking me like, hey, what's up with this Bitcoin price? And I'm like, now you have questions.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat, right? Like, got a couple close friends from college, but meeting new people every day. I'm in a new undisclosed location, so hoping to meet some people down here as well. You guys probably already
got it.
You guys could probably already guess, but I'll just keep my somewhat of his OPSEC for now.
Hey, I'm gonna give you a cheat code real quick, and this was I learned this down in Miami, and Will can attest to this. Our boy Brendan, he's on the panel. So when he moved down to Miami, what he decided to do is every time he met somebody, he would go out to a club or whatever. He would when he would meet them, he would get their name and he would put their name in his phone, and he would put a little description next to him. And he kept this going for the entire time that he's been in Miami. And let me tell you what, man, when we went out into Miami last Friday and last Saturday night, this man knows everybody. And it's like the best life hack that I've ever heard of before. It's as simple as just taking notes on what somebody's name is, remembering it, and remembering their name. And I'm telling you, so he did that when he moved to a new location. So that's certainly a life hack that I'm going to tell to everybody now.
Dale Carnegie, how to win friends and influence people. Names are the sweetest sound to a human being, and of course, on my phone I got I got like Corey Geary, Hex. I always do a little adjective about it. Just how I remember the people. One adjective, or never mind. I'm not gonna say it, but yeah, I know what you mean.
I save people by location first. It's like, so I travel the states. I do ironwork. That's why I'm living in a shipping container, right? It's because we go all over the place. But I save people based like location first, then their name, then they're like what they are, what they do. So dude, it's super duper relatable. Nice. That is too funny.
What does ironwork entail?
I build TV towers. So if you're ever like near a major city and you see these like 1,500 foot or 2,000 foot tall like steel sticks pointing straight up in the sky, and they've got wires coming off of them, I build those.
Damn.
So it's fucking kick ass, dude.
Interesting.
Yeah, this guy's tried to call into the stream a few times from the top of one.
Can you hack one for us and just stream like a Hex broadcast or something?
Nah, dude. Oh man. So man, the things that power these TV towers is like a fucking copper pipe that's like this big. It's like an 8-inch copper pipe, and it's just fucking jam-packed full of electricity. And they do all the signal and stuff way down on the ground in like this separate building or whatever. But it's just this big giant copper tube, like just flowing with electricity, because like you can't plug an extension cord in, half a mile up in the air, or 2/5 of a mile up in the air, right? Like, so they have to use gigantic pipes that are all like bolted together, and just the amount of power going to these antennas is fucking ridiculous, dude. I wish I could hack into them. That'd be super cool.
Yeah,
but like nobody watches TV anyways, so
yeah, don't fry yourself up there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Are you the one climbing all the way to the top too, or are you...
Yeah. So we climb them. So if we're going up there to like do maintenance, we have to climb up in the beginning and like rig rope and everything. I actually did I did a podcast with my brother, kind of sort of describing the process. He joined us for a little bit, but essentially we climb up to the top with a rope. We lower the rope all the way down to the ground. We use the rope to pick up a very small cable, and then we use the small steel cable to pick up a bigger steel cable. And then like we use these gigantic like crane winches to pick things up and down on the tower, and for like stacking and destacking and stuff. It's super awesome, man. I totally
wild.
recommend it.
You got to have balls of steel though for that. I mean, you're
Dude,
wearing
yeah.
like harnesses and stuff, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Like there's the only thing that's dangerous is like if you do dumb things that are like outside of the like the script of things that are acceptable to do. You know, we're always like double clicked into things. Like there's no way you could possibly fall out of a tower unless you do something wrong as an individual, you know.
Yeah.
But it's awesome, man.
Coffee, let me tell you something real quick. So this was for the Crispy Man stream that we had a couple weeks ago. So a group of us were hanging out, waiting for Crispy Man to hop on. You know, it's a couple minutes before the show, hanging out in the green room talking. Next thing you know, Will's camera turns on, and he's probably dangling like 800, 900 feet in the air, just swinging.
Shit,
this
man.
is somewhere in St. Louis, and he's like, "What's up?" Yep. And we're like, "Bro, I don't know if this is going to be the best thing for you to be on the show while you're swinging from a tower." And he was like, "Yeah, it's probably not the best idea."
It's entertaining though.
I had to back out of that one.
Damn, yeah, that's good entertainment.
How about you, bro? Do you still have like a daytime job, a blue collar job, other than like your streaming and stuff? Do you still fuck around, or are you just like on vacation?
I don't even think you can call me blue collar or white collar. I'm just I don't wear a collar anymore. I have a full time. I do crypto full time, which I know is like, oh really? Yeah, right. But I mean, I legitimately have a business. You know, I sell courses, hexpassiveincome.com. YouTube, ad money, and just merchandise, which is barely any of it. And
this is a good point for you to plug your business. Go ahead and like run through the ringer, dude. Give people all the links.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, if you guys are brand new to crypto and you don't already know, hexpassiveincome.com is a course that you should probably get. You really should. I mean, if you're brand new and you don't know anything, now a lot of you guys watching are probably intermediate, probably a little bit advanced, so you might not need it, but you might know somebody that needs it. And there's also a referral program as well. So
what is it that the course covers, like as a quick, little elevator pitch?
Yeah, you're going to learn all about, the mindset, what it takes to succeed, long-term holding, which is really like one of the most important things out of the whole course is the first module, talking about don't trade, don't do shiny object syndrome, critical thinking, how to do all that. Then it's going to go through, how to set up all your, your MetaMask, your centralized exchange, how to get money onto crypto, what you need to download, what you need to click on. Like I'll hold your hand step by step. It's all up on the screen. I think it's something like 25 hours of video tutorials, and it's great value, honestly. Like people ask me for consulting calls, and I'm like, why don't you just buy the course and you can reference it anytime you want? It's like a whole full day's worth of content, probably actually more. I think it's like 37 lessons, and I'm always adding more. I'm always keeping it up to date. But we go through the mindset, we go through the setup, the security, how to stay safe, how not to get hacked, how not to lose all your money. How to buy Hex, how to sell, how to buy Pulse Chain, Pulse X. It really kind of focuses on the Hex and Pulse Chain ecosystem, but it'll take you through Bitcoin and Ethereum a little bit too. If you really want to buy Bitcoin, it's not that hard, right? But it's primarily called Pulse Passive Income. So it's how to do yield farming, liquidity farming, how to get on Pulse X, what is liquidity, how to do different portfolio tracker apps, how to allocate your portfolio. Obviously, it's not financial advice like what exactly to buy, how much to buy, that's completely up to you, but really it's just what to click on. And so for a lot of newbies too, it's also terminology, crypto 101, what are blockchains, how do they work, and a lot of people, it's intimidating, right? Because we have like a different language when we talk about crypto. So it'll give you the confidence to really do crypto the right way and to know what you're talking about as well, to really understand. And obviously after that, we go into the staking ladder system, which is the crux of everything. We even talk about some of the add-ons, Hedron, Fame, other protocols that kind of add value to Hex in certain ways. Not necessarily protocols to invest in or shiny new coins to invest in, but here's how you use, here's how, if you wanted to, you could do decentralized lending if you wanted to, right? So it goes from beginner to kind of intermediate. Whereas, I would say like Miguel's course kind of takes you intermediate to advanced almost. At least that's the impression I get. I mean, you guys came out of there. You guys seem pretty advanced. The Citadel group and everything is a little different, but I'm more catering towards those people that are absolute beginners, that if you had a lot of questions that you were too afraid to even ask, chances are they're answered and explained very, very simply. Very complicated ideas boiled down very simply. And again, it's worth way more than 2 hours of my time, and you get way more bang for your buck that way. 7-day money back guarantee if you really hate it. I haven't really had anybody except for one guy that mistakenly purchased it, he said. Yeah, I've had, other than that, 0 people ever asked for a refund. Let's see.
Dude, I might have to do this shit myself. I'm just a peanut brain diamond hand over here. This sounds like a good fucking course. It's going to
Well, look,
cover
it's
all
also,
the things that I
if
missed.
it's probably a little redundant for you, but you know, if you want to support the channel as well, or
Yeah,
take
for
it,
sure.
give it to a friend, right? There's no laws against giving it away to, you know, friends and family who are going to be begging to get in at the top of the bull market. Maybe if you give it to them now. By the way, if you use code bear market, 25% off. So we do have a bear market sale.
Code bear market, all one word, all lowercase.
Yeah, bear market. It doesn't matter upper or lowercase, just the word bear market, all one word.
All
Use
right.
that at checkout for a quarter off. Yeah, guys. I mean, I keep it up to date. I answer comments if you leave comments, but I've also got a Patreon. If you want to support me via Patreon, I also answer questions on there. It's more so like you're supporting the channel and you're getting my one-on-one attention if you join the Patreon. You know, it's not like a full-on mentorship, but it's like, you know, we got a tiny little group over there, community of people that is happy to answer any questions, tech support, stuff that you might be wondering about. Got a lot of testimonials. People like it. And yeah, it's pretty good.
Hell yeah,
guys.
bro. So you got your website that you mentioned. You've got your Patreon. What else? It says in the little scrolly bar down at the bottom, you got an X and a YouTube as well. Don't forget to mention those, right?
Oh yeah. Thanks for the shills, guys. Twitter, obviously, CryptoCoffee. Just at CryptoCoffee 369 on everything. YouTube, Twitter, Patreon. You can find me pretty much everywhere. Just CryptoCoffee. Mostly active on YouTube and Twitter. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Beautiful.
Hell yeah.
Well, thanks a ton for coming on, man. Appreciate all the knowledge you spilled with us. And if you don't mind hanging out in the green room afterwards for a little bit, we got a few questions we'd like to ask you offline, if that's cool.
Yeah, the spicy stuff.
Maybe all not super spicy, but the inside baseball that's boring to everybody else.
All right, guys, we're going to talk about insider information. You heard it here. You're not all you guys watching, you're not going to get to know.
All right, we'll see if we can share any of it later. Maybe. Probably not, though. All right, Josh, where can people find you?
All right. You guys can find me on Twitter at Chocolate Taints. That's where you guys can find me. Let's see. Coming up around the corner, we got Maddie All In that just confirmed for November 29th. So he's going to be on the show that Wednesday. It's 2 weeks from tonight. So make sure you guys are subbed to the channel. And then, just getting ready for the Sunday episode, 8 o'clock. We should have a full panel. I know, like I said, I got the Ravens game tomorrow night, so Sunday I'm not going to be doing anything. So I'll just be preparing for the show all day. Just looking forward to some of the new stuff that we have coming around the corner. And that's where you guys can find me. And coffee, I'm going to make sure that I drop the what I'll do is I'll put the Hex passive income info in our Telegram chat as well. So for those folks that aren't watching now or they might miss the episode, I'll make sure. You said it's bear market, all lowercase or all uppercase, and it's 25%. That's right.
It's a limited time only sale, and you guys can also get referral bonuses too. So make a referral code, 40%. Okay, referral bonus.
Cool. All right, Will, what about you, man? What you got coming up, and where can they find you?
All right, so what I got coming up is, as you guys know, I'm just kind of like the show's networking official, right? So right now I'm down here in Dallas, Texas, waiting to get going on the next project that we got here for the ironworking stuff. So in the meantime, if any of you guys watching the channel are down here in Texas, you want to do an IRL meetup, hang out, shoot the shit, throw some axes, grab a beer, do an interview, anything like along those lines, reach out to me on Telegram. You can find me at Linktree/Will Stevenson with a V, all one word. If you guys want to join the channel, it's bit.ly degenerate_roundtable. That will take you to our Telegram straight up. So remember that bit.ly/degenerate_roundtable. And the other thing that I'm working on is a Hexagon Meetup template thing. Right now, all I've got going on is a Excel spreadsheet, basically online. You can find that at bit.ly/hex_meetup_template. And it's basically just it's just an Excel spreadsheet where you can input your location, whether it's, the state, the city, however much information that you want to give, you throw that in there. And then also contact information, whether it's on Twitter, your Telegram handle, your Facebook, your Instagram, whatever the heck, wherever people can find you. If you're a Hexagon and you want to meet other like-minded Hexagons, feel free to throw your info into this thing. Again, it's bit.ly/hex_meetup_template. And that's all I got going on. Why don't
That's
we go
awesome,
ahead?
dude. That's awesome what you're doing. Guys,
Thanks,
go
bro.
go hang out and meet up in real life. Like some of these real life meetups, you never know who you're gonna meet. And it's changed my life a lot. Like my network, my circle, I've got all kinds of weirdos that I love very much. So just try it out. You never know who you're gonna meet. And yeah, some of these IRL things, you know, if you're stuck at home, maybe you live in one of those towns where all you got is like a Walmart or whatever, like just drive 2 hours out to one of these meetups.
I can't agree with coffee enough. I got out of the Marine Corps about 4 years ago, and I spent like a good 3 months just traveling around the United States, meeting up with former Marine friends of mine and just hanging out. And then after that, you know, I do this DGen Roundtable thing. And in addition to that, I'm like an iron worker, and so I'm constantly jumping around the States. And I've been doing basically IRL meetups with you know, friends and people I meet online all the fucking time. And then I saw that SJ and, you know, RG3 were doing this like Pulse tour thing, and I was like, oh shit, like this is something that the Hex community needs. So this is something that I'm working on, and hopefully it blossoms into something beautiful. Coffee, before you go, are there anyone you recommend that also does like Hex IRLs? I know that Hexy Bastard was one of them that RG3 mentioned. Is there anyone else that like travels around and does these sort of things that I should like go out and look for?
Of course, yeah. Well, Hexy Bastard's a little far away from us, but he's our friend across the pond. If you're in the UK, check him out. And obviously, you got to check out thepulsechaintour.com, thepulsechaintour.com. Chocolate Taint is going to be at the Phoenix Meetup. The Phoenix Meetup is happening this Saturday. Don't miss it. If you're within Tempe, Phoenix, Scottsdale area, you don't have any excuse, okay? If you're within 2 hours, I mean, you should just go have fun, right? They're going to cater food. It's just like hanging out too. We're not talking about like crypto all the time. And it's not like, I mean, this is a more informal meetup, the Phoenix one, but they're also going to be doing a cruise at the end of the year. I believe a party in Vegas and maybe one other pit stop in California. But they've already toured the entire United States during the bear market, guys. So they're out here chilling during the bottom. They just were at Texas. Just go to thepulsechaintour.com and you could sign up if you want to, or just look up the details for Phoenix.
Most definitely. I'm making the 8-hour drive out there, so hopefully other people are doing a little bit less than I am. But yeah, Pulse Chain Tour, Phoenix Meetup on the 18th. That's this Saturday. And then a little bit of a news update. Book Club, the bi-weekly book club, is unfortunately getting pushed back 1 week. We've been getting hit pretty hard here with sickness at the DGen Roundtable. That's just the nature of the season, though. So that's going to be next weekend following it up. In its place, though, we are hoping to record some content and have it published live on Friday, so be on the lookout for that. Other than that, we will catch you on Sunday on the live stream or Saturday in person. CryptoCoffee, thank you so much for coming on the stream, man. This has been an absolute blast. And thank you to everybody as well for tuning in. We appreciate your time, and thank you very much for spending it with us. All right. Till then, we will catch everybody next time.